Locals in Blackwood don't avoid Old Cemetery Road because of the sharp turns or the dead signal zones. They avoid it because of the 9-minute rule. They say if you're the only car on that road after midnight, you don't actually save time. You lose it. Most delivery drivers treated the warning like gospel. Ethan Morales didn't. He just wanted to save 11 minutes on a delivery. He was just 19 when he took the shortcut through Old Cemetery Road on October 21st. He's regretted that turn every second since. This is the exact account of what he encountered that night. This is Ethan Morales. I'm recording this on October 30th, 2025, 9 days after it happened. I need someone to know what I went through on Old Cemetery Road. Not because I expect anyone to believe me. My manager doesn't. The police have no record of any incident on that road that night. The lighting contractor says every street light on Cemetery Road was fully operational on October 21st. I know what I saw. I know what I heard. And I know what that woman said to me at the door of 1149 Briar Lane. A house that, according to county records I pulled up 3 days later, has been vacant since August. I'm recording this because I haven't slept properly since it happened. Let me start at the beginning. I'd been working at Slice Haven Pizzeria for about 4 months by October, small place on Decker Street. The town, a former mining town in rural Pennsylvania, had a kind of quiet that felt heavy. I'd been there 4 months. My manager was a man called Derek Hall, late 40s. October 21st, Tuesday, 11:14 p.m. Derek slides 2 large pepperoni boxes across the counter and gives me the address, 1149 Briar Lane. I pull it up on my phone. New development, far side of St. Bartholomew's Cemetery. 2 routes, Main Street, longer, well-lit, straightforward, or Old Cemetery Road, cut straight through, saves 11 minutes. Derek leans on the counter and says, almost to himself, "Take Main Street tonight." Not an instruction exactly, more like something he'd already decided for himself and was sharing as a courtesy. Just take Main Street, don't go through Cemetery Road. It's a new moon tonight. I looked at the clock. I looked at the 11 minutes. I told him it was fine. I was not sure why he mentioned about the new moon night though. I didn't think about that until much later. Outside, my breath came out white. That particular October cold, not cruel yet, but patient. 11:18 p.m. The first few minutes were completely unremarkable. I want to be clear about that. Normal street, normal night, normal town folding quietly into itself at the edges. Then the street light started thinning. It happens gradually. Buildings spreading further apart, pavements ending, the road narrowing slightly without you quite noticing. And then the GPS says in 400 feet, turn right onto Old Cemetery Road. I turned right. My headlight reached maybe 40 feet ahead. Beyond that was just black, not dark the way a room gets dark, but black the way deep water is black. The iron gates of St. Bartholomew's Cemetery came up on my left. I didn't look at them directly. I told myself I was watching the road. I was almost past them when the first street light flickered. Pop, then the next. Pop, and then the whole stretch, one after another, like something exhaling down the length of the road. Every light went out at once. That sound of electricity dying, a faint echo, almost like glass, and then just me, and my one headlight, and whatever was out there in the dark beyond it. Pitch dark, and I mean true black. On a new moon, there's no silver glow from above, just a void. I should have turned around. I know that. I've known it every day since, but I kept going. That's when I saw her, 20 feet ahead of me, a woman, walking, and the wrongness of it. It's difficult to explain because nothing she was doing was impossible exactly. It was more that it was off. The stride too long, barefoot on the cold asphalt, white dress, dirty at the hem, long black hair hanging loose down her back. She had not been there before the lights went out. Yes, I am sure about that. She was not there. That's the thing I keep returning to. My headlight had been showing me 40 feet of empty road. The lights died, and she was already there, already walking, already 20 feet ahead, as though she had always been there, and I simply hadn't been able to see her until now. I swung wide into the other lane, twisted the throttle. The engine roared. The speedometer didn't move, 20 miles per hour. I looked down at it, back up. She was still 20 feet ahead. Exact same distance, like the gap between us was fixed, held in place by something I couldn't see or understand. I twisted harder, all the sound and effort of acceleration, and nothing, like riding against something that wasn't air anymore. The cold deepened. Suddenly, specifically, the temperature of a freezer opening. I felt it through my jacket, into my chest. My breath didn't just mist. It hung in the air and stayed there. I think I shouted, just, "Hey," the way you shout at someone who hasn't seen you. My voice came out rougher than I intended, and the trees simply absorbed it. She didn't react, didn't turn, didn't flinch, just walked, same pace, same stride, same 20 feet. 2.5 minutes of this. I know because I checked the log later. 2 minutes and 30 seconds of riding at full throttle, going nowhere, my hands beginning to shake in a way that had nothing to do with the engine. Then my headlights swept across an old utility pole on the right side of the road. Something carved into the wood, deeply, old enough that the bark had grown back around the edges of the letters. 9 minutes, it read. I was still trying to understand what that meant when the bike lurched forward. Full power, instant. Like something had simply opened its hand and let go. I shot ahead. The trees blurred, the road opened up, and I did not look in my mirror. I just rode. I took the first left I found and rode until I felt certain I'd covered enough ground to be somewhere else entirely. Checked the timer on my phone. 9 minutes. Then my headlight hit a utility pole. It was the same pole. 9 minutes. Same carving. Same weathered edges. Same road. It was strange. Yes. I was at the same spot I stopped. I sat there and I laughed. The kind of laugh that has nothing to do with anything being funny. The kind your body produces when it has run out of other responses. I said out loud, "That's not funny." As though someone was listening. As though there was a someone. I checked my bearings. Everything looked right. I turned around, went again, took the next left, rode hard. I don't know how, but I reached the same spot. I was staring at the same pole. 9 minutes. Same carving, same weathered edges, same road. I didn't touch it. I didn't stop. 22 minutes on the road. Phone battery at 6%, GPS spinning, no signal. And then, the sound changed. That's the only way I can describe it. The wind was still moving the branches, but I couldn't hear it properly. Like something had been placed between me and the world. Everything muffled. Quieter than quiet should be. I became aware of breathing. On the back of my neck. Slow. Measured. Each exhale about twice the length of a normal breath. And cold. Not the cold of the night air, but the specific cold of breath from something at the wrong temperature. I looked in my rearview mirror. She was sitting behind me, hair hanging forward over her face, head tilted, and where her face should have been, between the curtains of black hair, there was just dark. Not shadow, not features hidden in darkness. Dark the way the space between stars is dark, like depth without a bottom. The bike went sideways. I don't remember the moment of impact. 1 second I was on the bike, The next I was on the road, and the pizza boxes had burst open, and the sauce was spreading across the asphalt, and I was getting up on a knee that screamed with every movement. She was not on the bike. She wasn't anywhere I could see. But the headlight was stuttering, strobing, and in the gaps between each flicker, the edges of the road looked like they were breathing. I got the bike upright, hit the ignition. Nothing. From behind me, footsteps, measured, unhurried. The exact same pace as before, not getting closer, just present, like something that already knows how much time it has. I did not look. I kicked the engine. Nothing. Kicked again. The footsteps kept their rhythm. Then they stopped. Silence. And then, close enough that I felt the air shift near my ear, I think I heard something like a whisper. 9. Suddenly, the engine turned over. I don't remember getting on the bike. I was simply on it, going forward, then left, eyes fixed on the road ahead, trees leaning inward, road narrowing, timer running on my phone. 3 minutes, 5, 8. At 8 minutes, the headlight dimmed almost to nothing, and I made a sound, not a word, just a sound. 9 minutes. The road opened, streetlights, ordinary, humming, wonderful streetlights, a quiet street, suburban houses with porch lights burning, a child's bicycle left on a lawn, a recycling bin at the curb. I was at my destination, 1149 Briar Lane. I sat on the bike and I didn't move. My hands were still on the handlebars. My knee was bleeding through my jeans. I could feel my own pulse in my throat. I knocked on the door. An older woman answered, short gray hair, reading glasses pushed up on her head. She smiled, gently, patiently, the smile of someone who had been expecting me and had not been concerned by the wait. She said I was late. I started explaining. The accident, the pizza was gone. I'd call for a replacement. I was sorry. I watched her face as I spoke. Her expression didn't change. She nodded slowly, as though she was listening to something else underneath my words. Then she looked past me, over my shoulder, into the dark at the far end of the street where the lights stopped. She stood there for a moment, just looking at whatever was out there. And then she said, "You made it past 9. The door closed. She hadn't asked about the food, hadn't asked about a replacement, hadn't asked why I was standing on her step bleeding. Just that one sentence, spoken quietly, each word given equal weight. The porch light clicked off. I stood there in the dark for a moment. Then I called Derek. He was irritated, not interested in the details. Said he'd send someone else with the replacement and dock me for the lost order. I said fine. I took Main Street home and nothing happened, and I was grateful for every lit, ordinary meter of it. I was nearly home when I checked my mirror out of habit. Empty road. I exhaled. Properly, fully, for what felt like the first time in 40 minutes. I looked back at the road ahead, and then, because I was tired and my knee was throbbing and some part of my brain was beginning to try to explain it all away, to tell me it was adrenaline and bad lighting and an overactive imagination, I glanced down at the bike's clock. 11:18 p.m., the exact minute I had turned onto Old Cemetery Road. The engine stuttered. Once, just one small hiccup, like a word catching in a throat. And far ahead, at the very edge of where the streetlights ended and the dark began, one light flickered, just once, just to let me know it was still there. I looked up 1149 Briar Lane 3 days later, county property records. The house has been vacant since August 2025. No registered occupant. I've called the number Derek has on file for the order. Disconnected. I went back in daylight. I want to be clear, only in daylight. And I rode the cemetery road end to end. Normal road, normal trees, normal utility poles. I stopped at every single one of them. No carving. Not on any of them. I don't know what that means. I've been turning it over for 9 days and I don't know what it means. I know what I saw. I know what I heard. I know that something on that road is keeping count of something. 9 minutes. 9 minutes of what? 9 minutes until what? I don't know. I haven't taken a night shift since, and I won't be going back to Blackwood Hollow after dark. Not until I understand what she was counting down to. Maybe not even then. I still deliver. Days only now. I put the request in writing the week after it happened, and I didn't explain why. My co-workers think I got shaken up by the accident. I let them think that. It's a simpler explanation than the truth. But sometimes, when I'm riding home and the road gets quiet and the temperature drops that one particular degree and the engine note shifts in a way I can't account for, I feel it again. That cold at the back of my neck. That stillness, like the world briefly holding its breath. That weight behind me on the seat. And every single time I keep my eyes on the road, I do not look in the mirror. Ethan Morales has not returned to work at Slice Haven Pizzeria. We could not reach Derek Hall for comment. The number listed for Slice Haven Pizzeria goes to voicemail. Marcus, the delivery guy who took the replacement order that night, arrived at 1149 Briar Lane at 12:44 a.m. The porch light was off. No one answered. He left the pizzas on the step and marked the delivery complete. He told us the ride was uneventful. We asked him specifically whether he had taken Cemetery Road. He said he didn't remember which route he used. He said the whole night felt like a blur. He mentioned he'd been having trouble sleeping lately, though he wasn't sure why. He seemed like he genuinely didn't know. Blackwood Hollow Police Department has no record of any incident reported on Old Cemetery Road on the night of October 21st, 2025. The municipal lighting contractor confirms all streetlights on that stretch were fully operational that evening. All we could find out was that St. Bartholomew's Cemetery was established in 1887. Its oldest section, the part closest to Old Cemetery Road, contains 31 graves, 9 of which are unmarked. The parish records that might have identified them were lost in a fire in 1923. Nobody knows who's buried there. Nobody knows who's been buried there for over 100 years. We'll be back next week, same day at 3 a.m. And if you're ever driving a rural road late at night, really late, past the point where the street lights end and the trees close in overhead, and you notice the temperature drop, sudden and sharp, like a freezer opening, don't check your mirror. Whatever's keeping pace with you out there in the dark, it already knows you're there.